Well, good morning, Savannah, and welcome to the Daily Dose. All right, you are listening to WRUU Savannah Georgia 107.5 FM and WRUU.org. We are Savannah Sounding Community Radio with Global Soul. I am your host and your life coach, GinaSherrie, with the Daily Dose, and welcome everybody. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Whatever you guys did, I hope that if you needed rest, you got rest. If you needed time to be with your family, I hope you were able to do that as well. So as we do on the Daily Dose, we're going to hold you for about an hour, you guys. We're going to do a recap of what we talked about last time as well. And you guys know how we do. If you haven't got your journals already, please go and get your journals, because we are going to be writing things down like we have been doing every Sunday, and provided a little bit of homework. And I hope that you guys are writing the things down and you guys are actually doing the work. And I know that you guys are, because I'm getting great feedback on the shows and stuff like that. So we're going to read a little bit of that as well. But I want to take a moment to welcome you, whether you're joining me for the first time or you've been with me on this journey for a while. I'm glad that you are here this morning. This is your space for truth, healing, and personal growth, a place where your voice matters and your transformation is honored. So remember, healing doesn't have to be loud and growth doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes all it takes is a small shift, a kind word, or a moment of stillness. So wherever you are this morning, whether you are walking, driving, still laying in the bed, which I want to be, or sipping your morning coffee, which I had, this space is here for you, and I want you guys to know that you have a safe space and to be comfortable. So welcome. So we're gonna recap, but today we have a great show for you, and we're gonna be talking. Well, let's jump into our recap, right? So last Sunday we talked about one of the hardest but most necessary parts of healing, and letting go of things that do not serve us anymore. Anything that was toxic, or it was holding you back. We talked about letting that go. We explored how sometimes the things were how we were loyal to things that kept us stuck. And we said sometimes that a lot of things that we just had a hard time letting go. And I think it was very powerful for most of us that were holding that extra baggage. A song that I brought to you guys, if you guys didn't know Erykah Badu, I brought you guys that song, Bag Lady. And to me, that song represented a lot more, right? Just walking around with purses. But it also represented of things that we're holding on to and the weight that we're carrying on our shoulders, right? So that was a great song. If you didn't check it out, if you already know who Erykah Badu is, so that was a great representation of us trying to move forward, and still are holding on to a lot of baggage that we were unable to let go, whether it was baggage from our childhood, trauma, anything that was trauma for us, and we seem to not be able to heal and grow from it, right? So that's the song that we used. A lot of affirmations that we were giving out last week, like we always do. So we're going to do the same thing this week as well. So just because it was once right for you doesn't mean it still fits your future. And so we're going to keep going on with that. But today's topic, we are going to talk about protecting your peace in this chaotic world. And we know that we are surrounded by like toxic, chaotic things that some of it is very out of our control, and some of it, if I'm going to be honest and transparent, some of the stuff that we are going through and the stuff that we're dealing with is things that we brought into our own lives and into our own world, right? From our decision making or lack thereof, right? So, and I always tell people there is consequences for everything that we do, good or bad. So sometimes we have to take a seat back and look in the mirror and ask ourselves, are some of the things that we're going through because of the decisions that we made? And you gotta own up to it. But we are still needing to protect our peace at all costs. A lot of things that is out of our control, things at work. Maybe you got into a car accident that you couldn't control, right? So all of those things are, maybe you got into a car accident that you couldn't control, right? So all of those things are a factor in this, and that's what we're going to talk about. Just having our peace while we are protecting our peace, right, in this chaotic world. But first, I want to read something from Monique from Atlanta. Shout out to Monique from Atlanta, and then we'll go into our topic for today. So she emailed and she said, GinaSherrie. I just like the way that sounds, GinaSherrie. I didn't realize how much weight I was carrying just trying to keep a friendship alive that had expired 3 years ago. I've been grieving the idea of who we were, not who we were now. Thank you for helping me release that. Monique, shout out to you. I know that is a big thing that we hold on to, relationships, because of the time that we put in that relationship, right? We've known this person since we were in kindergarten, say, and childhood friends, and we grew up together. So we do and we tolerate some things that we necessarily shouldn't. But because you've known that person for a very long time, you've done that. And I've said on a previous show that just because you've known somebody for a very long time, it does not mean that you have to tolerate any toxic behavior and things that are not pouring into you and you're allowing yourself to pour into them, right? If it does not have value, like you can know each other for a very long time, but if that relationship that you have does not have value to that relationship, then it's like you're tug of war, right? When you are pulling one side, the other person's pulling one side, like you start getting, your hand starts hurting, you start getting calluses, right? Because you're holding on to something that you should be letting go of. And a lot of times we're afraid to walk away. And I know I've done that. We're afraid to be by ourselves. We're afraid of whatever. But Monique, I'm happy that you recognize this, and I'm happy that you had enough strength, enough courage to let go and find people that align with who you are now and who you want to be, right? Sometimes everybody can't come with you. I tell that people all the time. If you're growing and you're enhancing and you're doing other things to better yourself, better your family, better your life, there are some people that just can't go with you. And it's okay to have to walk away. So shout out to Monique, shout out to Atlanta. Thank you very much. Derek from Savannah, shout out to Savannah, Georgia. He messaged me on Instagram. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you guys so much for ones that are connecting with me on Instagram. Life Coach GinaSherrie is my Instagram handle. And there we leave a lot of informations. We take the conversation there. And I post some things about the show. And so thank you, Derek, for connecting with me on that. But he hit me and said, letting go doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're making room. I needed that permission to let go of my job that no longer honors my value. Yeah. So how many of us are in that job that we don't care to be at? And I know you guys heard me mention this a while ago on previous shows. So sometimes, like, I remember me being in a job and I had to sit in my car and pray before I went inside, like, for real, for real. Like, I had to get my mind right. Like, everything give me as I was driving and as I pulled up, as I parked. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to communicate with nobody. Like, I just don't want to be here. And I felt that way, and I had to understand that I'm growing out of. And this position no longer served me purpose. Like, I knew I wasn't going anywhere. I knew I was not going to thrive in this position anymore, and that feeling for me. And I know when I feel that way and it's time for me to move on, I have to be okay with it walking away, because I know there's something out there that's better for me. And yeah, so I'm happy that you had the courage to do that and keep growing and keep living. Everybody says you live your best life, but keep doing that, because I don't want anybody to feel stuck. Like, this is it. And I know that feeling all too well. And when I do start feeling that way, it's time to make some changes. It's time to see what else is out there, because I know my value, my worth, and what I offer, right? Everybody talk about what you bring to the table. I know what I bring. And so I never want to be in a position where I feel stuck. So shout out to you. Hit me back on Instagram and let me know the new job that you're going after, if you're still pursuing that, or the new job that you did get, and let me know the progress. And I hope that you continue doing the work, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of Monique. Anybody else that wants to share something that they're letting go, something that they're stepping into, something that they're actively working on, yeah, hit me up and DM me, Life Coach GinaSherrie, on my Instagram, or email me at hostginasherrie at gmail.com, and you guys can do it that way. Yeah, so, and if you guys missed the episode or anything, you guys can always go to Spotify and listen there, or jump online and go to WRUU.org, and you guys can listen there. All right, so great recap, right? So let's jump right into today's topic: protecting your peace in a chaotic world. So today we're diving into something that feels especially urgent in today's climate, and you guys know exactly what I mean. How to protect your peace in a chaotic world. So let me ask you this: when was the last time you felt still? Not just quiet, but truly at peace. When was the last time? And this is a time where you guys get out that journal. If you're just tuning in, or if you're new to the Daily Dose, we are journals around here. If you're driving or walking and you can't write certain things down, just make the mental note, right, if you can. But go grab your journals, and this is something that you guys can write down. You guys can think about this throughout the day, throughout the week, or what have you, and that you guys can answer that question. So I will say it one more time. When was the last time you felt still? Not just quiet, but truly at peace. When was the last time? So I'm going to write down in my journal when I get home, and we can answer that. One of the things we can answer next week on next Sunday, right? We're consistently bombarded by news alerts, people's opinion, expectations, energy drains. Like, how many things and people that we're around that just be draining our energy, right? And if we're not intentional, we absorb it all. If we are not cautious about the people that we're around, the situation, the atmosphere that we're around, like, we observe other people's energies. Like, that is something that is for real. We absorb it, right? And how many times have you walked into a building or a meeting or work or whatever, and the atmosphere just changes, right? How many times have you went through that? And you could be happy, right? Like you can be smiling and you just listen to your song in the car, what have you, and then you walk into the building and that atmosphere is just like, ew. Like, and then you start feeling down, you start feeling angry, anxious, or whatever the case may be. Like, you observed all of that energy that was just in that room. Like, and I think that we've had that happen for a very long time, right? So if we're not cautious, it definitely does drain us, and it definitely makes you absorb whatever's going on in your atmosphere. So let's do some reflections, real life examples, and I'm going to give you guys a short story about a life example. Last month I found myself feeling exhausted, like I always do. I feel like a little exhausted today, not just physically, but emotionally. I was saying yes out of habit and not alignment. And I know you guys heard me talk about that saying yes when you really want to say no, right? And that's going back to protecting boundaries. And remembering our boundaries, right? But there's times where I find myself saying yes when I really want to say no. I'm really good about, saying no, but for this particular day, I was just like, okay, fine. Like, I'm tired, but I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna help out, right? But that was my fault for not, keeping that boundary. Because like I said before, like, it's cute to have boundaries, right? But what do we do when we have to reinforce them, right? So I know I'm not the only one that's done that. I know plenty of people that still do it. We agreed to things that you knew were pulling you out of alignment, right? And I really knew it was pulling me out of alignment, right? So I started doing something radical. And you guys heard me say this before, like, I like putting my phone on do not disturb. There's like one person that can get through, and it's my daughter. So I do that, not for a moment, but several hours or a day, especially at nighttime. Like, I don't like people calling me at a certain time, right? If it's an emergency, I understand that, but I do like my phone being off, and like, that's a way for me to protect my peace, right? So and I guard it. If it's an emergency, I know you guys will leave me a message or text me or whatever, and I'll definitely answer then. But I got in that habit of keeping my phone on do not disturb, or at least on vibrate, right? Especially at nighttime when I'm wanting to wind down and I need my rest, I need my peace. So I've been doing that, and that's definitely been helping. So if you haven't done that yet, please try to make that part of your routine. Especially with a job, I hear a lot of people say that when they're going home, they're still getting emails and text messages and calls, and their bosses are still calling them, asking them to do stuff. Like, first of all, y'all are definitely better than me, because after I learned this tactic and I started protecting my peace, like, I ain't answering nothing. If the building ain't on fire, don't call me. Like, and if you're definitely not paying me extra, don't ask me to answer any emails, right? But we're afraid of, sometimes we are afraid of saying no,